we released the art previews this week. Pretty overwhelmingly positive feedback, which is nice. It's like we've been working on it for months, and it's, you get so close to a thing, it's hard to be objective about it and imagine what other people might think. But it wasn't like a Jenkins Zavale Azobala type situation where people were like repulsed. It was generally positive.
Two Bored Apes talking NFTs, DeFi, and some random stuff. Two Bored Apes talking NFTs, DeFi, and some random stuff.
Welcome to episode 82 of Two Bored Apes, take 2. I'm your host, Jamie. I'm here with my friend Roy, my friend and co-host Roy. Roy, aside from your internet being better than me, how are you?
Doing pretty well, Jamie. 82 episodes. That's wild. Like, it's a lot of episodes we've done. And
it kind of is, but it also feels like we should be past 100 now, because I feel like I'm always...
Oh, yeah, we did 50 in the first, 6 months.
Well, that too. But it feels like we've been doing it for so long, and I feel like when I'm watching a show or listening to something and they hit 100 episodes, I'm like, that's pretty impressive, but it kind of went by fast. And it feels like we've been recording this for a long time, and we're still not at 100.
Yeah.
That's when you get the big money, though.
In 2024.
For TV shows, at least. That's when you get to syndicate, and that's when you get all the big money. Mm-hmm. So hopefully, 18 more episodes, we're going to get paid a lot of money to air these on Fox and NBC or whatever.
So, this is an NFT podcast. Jamie, what has been happening in the NFT space lately?
This was an NFT podcast. I'm not sure what kind of podcast it is anymore, but it definitely was.
This is a Jamie and Roy podcast now.
Yes, it is, Chef. All right, let's get the listeners updated. You have finally watched The Bear, or one season of it, right?
1 season and 2 episodes of episode 2. It is an excellent show. It is a very good show. Yeah. For some reason, I thought it was a true story.
Not a true story.
Yeah, sadly. Oppenheimer, like you just said, that is a true story.
Sadly. Right? Although I don't know why you say sadly about The Bear. It's not like it's a happy story necessarily.
No, but I don't know. I guess I'm just presuming it has a nice happy ending, but I don't know whether they're going to be successful or not. But what did you think of Oppenheimer?
I enjoyed it very much. A lot of the people that I talked to that saw it were bored for a lot of it. And that did not happen for me, but I was a physics major in college, so physics was the first thing that I ever really cared about intellectually. So there was a lot of that stuff at the beginning where they're kind of just recruiting scientists and you're kind of just seeing his education in Europe. It was all entertaining and interesting to me, but I could see how other people would just be like, this is kind of stuff I don't need to be seeing really. But I was very entertained the whole time.
Such a different movie to Barbie. So I saw Barbie last week as well, and it was fun. I liked it. Good movie, but the whole Barbie-heimer thing, it would be difficult to pick two movies more different.
That was
I guess
the
without
point
going
of it, though, right? It's a very fun juxtaposition. I am bummed that I did. Now that I've seen both, I am bummed that I didn't get to see them on the same night because it would have been fun. I don't know if I already said it on the podcast, but I tried to, and I showed up a half hour before the IMAX screening of Oppenheimer, and they're like, "Are you kidding? It's extremely sold out.
Been booked out for weeks." Yeah.
So I ended up only seeing Barbie on opening day, and then it took me a long time before I got to see Oppenheimer.
Yeah. And good movies, good TV shows. This is now a movie and TV show podcast. And poker.
I'm also enjoying the new Superman show. It's called My Adventures with Superman.
Huh.
I've been watching one episode every time I do the Peloton. So I do a nice leisurely 20 minutes on the bike and watch an episode, and then move on with my life. Pretty pleasant.
Is there anything interesting about this Superman show? Is it a different spin on it, or is it just a rehashing of the same?
There's some slight spinning, but nothing too significant. It's a little bit. It seems like it's a little bit more romance related. Probably. It's still, there's only 8 episodes out so far, but I think they're kind of leaning a little bit into the relationship between Clark and Lois and the relationship of both of them with Jimmy Olsen a little bit, but it's so early on, it's hard to say.
Fair. We should probably talk about some crypto/NFT stuff.
All right, Ted, tell me what's going on.
We're launching a PFP collection. We announced that this week. That's kind of something to talk about.
You say we,
the
but
Denizens.
I'm not.
ZenAcademy.
Right.
Well, not you and me, we ZenAcademy, we.
Clarifying for the listener.
Yeah. Yep.
Tell us about it, Roy.
The Denizens of ZenAcademy.
What's
that?
That's not telling us about it. That's just saying a name or something.
No, well, that's the name. No, we released the art previews this week. Pretty overwhelmingly positive feedback, which is nice. It's like we've been working on it for months, and it's, you get so close to a thing, it's hard to be objective about it and imagine what other people might think. But it wasn't like a Jenkins of Valet Azobala type situation where people were like repulsed. It was generally positive. Speaking of, though, by the way, they I think today launched their Azurians, which is like they went back to the drawing board and released, and they have, looks like pretty great art. So good for them. I like to see that. Anyway, ours is launching next week. We'll be most likely next week opening up the mint/burn your Zen chest, get a PFP. It's gonna be cool to see him out there. There's a lot of fun traits. I think people are gonna have fun exploring the collection, and I don't know, it's just gonna be cool to have people rocking a Denizen PFP, I think.
And there's no bear related.
If you still had
traits?
Twitter, I would try and convince you to use one, but you don't use that social media platform anymore.
And by the way, I don't think that exists anymore, right? It's called X now.
X. Yeah.
No, I'm not on there, unfortunately.
What do you think of that?
About them changing it to X?
Yeah.
It seems stupid. I don't really understand.
It really
the point.
does.
I heard there was like a lot of possible legal issues just because there's like lots of trademarks already that just involve the letter X.
The letter X,
so they're having to deal with that kind of thing.
Being Elon's lawyers must be fun, huh?
Yeah. I think about that a lot with Trump because this guy can't help himself but say stuff that any lawyer who's in charge of him would be so upset about him doing. And he's constantly having to get new ones because it's a terrible gig. He famously doesn't pay people that he owes money to, and he does not listen to the advice of his lawyer and is just constantly admitting to the crimes and committing new ones publicly, constantly. It's so insane.
I've had conversations with lawyers, and like we're talking about something we're doing, and they're like, all right, just, try and make sure not to say these words. And if you're talking about what you're doing, like, don't say it's an investment or that you promise future, it's yada, yada, yada. And like lawyers will tell you kind of like what to say, what not to say. His lawyers must just give up on like, he's got to do what he's got to do.
It's so hilarious.
Yeah.
And he'll also do like, this podcast is so all over the place all the time and I love it. But he'll a lot of times he'll do stuff where he'll be like, I didn't do this thing, but if I did do this thing, it was totally justified for me to do. Like he'll give you 4 different excuses that are all contradicting each other, and it's like, well, what is your story? You did not do it, or you did it and it was justified. Or like a lot of times it'll evolve over time where he'll go, I didn't do it, and then some more news will come out and it'll be like, well, this guy who I hired did it, but it wasn't under my direction. It's you just keep changing it.
Next year's election cycle is going to be something interesting.
God, they're both so old. It's insane.
It really is. Like, someone else should win. I don't know who, but I would like neither.
Doesn't seem like someone else will.
That's kind of crazy. Like, what?
There's no other candidates. Not one.
Wild.
For a second, it seemed like DeSantis might be a threat to Trump, but then he tried to out-Trump Trump, and that didn't work. So now he's toast.
No. Get your country in order, Jamie. Just
I used to send out some tweets to try to get it in order, and it never seemed to work. So I quit Twitter, and now I just donate blood. That's how I'm fixing things.
Jamie 2032. Remember when you used to be like, I could run for president. I could be president.
I vaguely remember saying that I would try to win the 2028 presidency like a long time ago, but I don't think I'm going to do that anymore.
I don't think you're going to win any presidency of any country ever. I don't think I'm going to either.
But the only one that would be realistic, I think, would be America.
Yeah.
Given my citizenship and whatnot.
No,
it's probably not going to happen. I don't think I'm
Yeah.
tall enough is probably the main issue. If I had to just,
That's the reason you're not going to be president of the
Well,
United States.
what are the other reasons?
You have no, I don't know, history in politics, no experience in
Neither did Donald
policy
Trump.
making.
Neither did
True.
Donald
You don't have
Trump.
a widely known public persona or profile. You're not abhorrently
What are
wealthy.
you talking about? This is episode 82 of Cats.
all
Are you
the
kidding me?
voters, all the listeners of Two Bored Apes will get out there and they'll
There's
rally.
tens of listeners listening to this right now.
We should look up what our numbers are like. It's been a while, but like I have no idea how many people are still listening. But if you
Yeah,
are,
me
we
either.
appreciate you.
I was auto logged into whatever the Buzzsprout or something on my browser, but then I guess I might have cleared my cookies or something, and so I haven't been back in since. But it used to be low thousands.
Yeah, we used to have thousands per episode.
But I don't know. Do people still care about NFTs enough for us to get thousands? We'll see.
We got over 1,000 last episode, so
All right,
not bad.
and that doesn't even include YouTube.
That's true. That's true. Snowfro has a drop coming out. Kind of cool. I don't know if you heard it. Heard it or saw
I
it.
think I heard something about this. I also heard about, I think FX Hash did like a $5 million raise.
They did. They
I don't know if
did.
you heard about that.
Yeah.
What's tell me about Snowfro's drop though.
So it is in.
It's in
collaboration
partnership with something.
Jordan Lyle is a person. It's in partnership or collaboration with him, and it's on Prohibition Art, which is platform on Arbitrum, which uses the art blocks engine. So Arbitrum being a layer 2, which is cool because the mint is 0.01 ETH as an inclusive edition, which basically means it's an open edition, but he may or they may at some point in the future decide to close it and cap the supply. But like a 0.01 ETH mint doesn't make that much sense on ETH mainnet when you're probably paying a multiple of that in gas costs just to mint thing, or at least as much. Hey, Totoro.
Yep.
Totoro.
It's going to be a long form thing though, right? It's not like one image that everybody's having an edition.
It's called Heart and Craft. I don't know if I said that or not. And it is similar in nature to the friendship bracelets. So there's a physical component. And you'll probably appreciate this as well. There is a colorful generative artwork that illustrates my eternal love of gradients contained in the shape of a heart. There are seemingly unlimited possible combinations of colors and blocks that make up each Zelda-inspired heart container. So it's like this 3D heart made up by like gradients of blocks, colored blocks. And the idea being that similar to friendship bracelets, these are something you can actually, it will come with full instructions on how to recreate these yourselves. And I guess they want people doing some art and crafts and creating, which I think is awesome and fun.
Yeah,
and
that is fun.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
I'm definitely going to mint friendship bracelet. There you go.
Do you know where the heart comes from, Roy? The shape that we know of as a heart.
This was in my head at some point in my life. Let me think.
By the way, I don't have a definitive answer. I have a theory that has been floated. I don't think all the scholars on Earth agree with it, but it's definitely something that some people think could be the answer.
Give me, I don't know. What is it?
There's some plant that the ancient Romans used as basically a morning after pill, some sort of birth control, and the shape of like the seed or whatever that you would eat was basically what we think of as a heart. And then somehow that turned into the symbol that we use for
it is interesting because
love
it doesn't really look like a human heart.
A heart does not really look like the shape.
It's
no, I
weird,
agree with that.
Like
it's
thing
more
with
like
ventricles and
if you didn't do this thing at the top, it would be sort of accurate. You know, it's kind of like
kind of.
I'm not doing a good job with my
the bottom should be it shouldn't be as pointy at the bottom as well, and
yeah. What it's like an upside down rounded triangle a little bit, an isosceles triangle, I think,
something like that.
Yeah, it's not equilateral and it's not scaling. I think it's an isosceles triangle.
There you go.
Yeah?
There you go.
Isosceles. It's been a long time since I took what is that called? Geometry. I almost called it geography.
Wait, no, it's definitely geometry. There's geology as well. Like a lot of geo things. So that's coming out on the 24th of August. Definitely, but I imagine it'll be open for quite a long period of time. So,
yes, they're
no
saying
rush.
that we may at some point in the future. You'd think that means there's no way it won't be at least 2 weeks or whatever.
Yeah, and probably longer, I think. 0.01.
Do you know more about the FX hash raise? We could talk about that a little bit more. Like,
I don't know much more other than it happened, which, raising $5 million in this market is pretty impressive. And I think especially
I saw a list of names of who raised it, but I don't know. I don't remember them, nor do I know what the valuation of the whole project was meant to be.
I can do some quick looking into
or even
that.
if necessarily it was like an equity raise. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, it's hard to know. I think it is impressive in this sort of in this market, but also sort of it kind of feels like FX Hash has been struggling a little bit with being on Tezos and finding its identity. And now with Prohibition, an L2 on Ethereum, you can launch with basically no gas, no environmental impact. I think it's losing some of the key selling points it has. Obviously, one of the biggest ones being the cultures is hopefully and meaningfully still there. But yeah. Okay, here we go. 1KX led the round. Punk DAO was one of the investors. The Tezos Foundation, USV, Bright Opportunities, KRPDM, plus some angels. I don't believe they say the valuation. Who are the angels? Casey Rias being one of them. Shamrock.
He's got a drop coming out too.
XYZ. He actually has a drop going on right now. 923 rooms, I think it's called. And I believe it's a Bright Moments drop where they release 150 every day. I actually think they look really interesting and quite distinct and different to a lot of the other pieces of his that I've seen.
And Bright Moments thing.
Nice.
Looks like it opens in 18 and a half hours. Or I guess the next
every day
round
there's
of
another 150. Which is kind of cool.
Looks like it starts at 3 ETH and goes all the way down to 0. I'm not really sure where they sold out the previous days.
Let me take a quick look. Looks like minted for 0.12 was the most recent version. There are a lot of
in-person gallery events for like all of them too, it looks like.
Yeah, which is great.
He's not flying all of these. That would be an insane schedule.
Yeah, surely not. I'm sure he's at like 1, maybe 2 of them.
First one was Tokyo, then Berlin, then London, then New York, then Mexico City, and then Los Angeles.
A hell of a schedule in 6 days. Yeah.
Today's, it looks like, was New York, and then tomorrow's will be the Mexico City. So there's only 2 more rounds of 150 getting released, I guess.
Yeah.
Based on the schedule I'm looking at.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff happening in the art space. There, Mitchell F. Chan had a drop, which it looks really cool. I haven't had a chance to play around with it.
The name does not ring a bell.
He did Lewitt Generator.
Okay.
Yeah. The Boys of Summer is the name of his drop, and it's kind of like a video game, a generative video game, and it has like this. I think it's baseball based, so like fantasy baseball. You get a character, they have a life, and
this is definitely
really
baseball. I'm looking at it right
involving
now.
And what's that?
I'm looking at an image of one right now, and it's definitely baseball.
Yeah, definitely interesting, innovative, getting a bunch of praise from almost everyone in Gen Art. Yeah. I mean, as much as the PFP market is tanking, NFTs as a whole is tanking, crypto today is tanking, Gen Art and even a lot of one-on-one art is kind of thriving, which is cool to see. Or at least not nearly tanking as much as everything else, which is maybe all you can hope for in this market.
You said profile pictures are tanking?
Oh, leading to all death and hell, and
so
not
that's just a
altogether
little
surprising.
Reminder to everybody. Mint your ZenAcademy profile picture.
Hey, they're free.
I know. It's just funny timing, right?
Oh, it's hilarious timing, but it's honestly, it's nice to be releasing into this market because it's free, because I imagine people aren't going to be buying a crazy amount, hoping to speculate and make lots of riches and money. The expectations are low and manageable, and again, it's ZenAcademy has always been about under promise,
It's like
over
an
deliver.
NFT for the sake of having an NFT, which is something that the market was not interested in for a long time. It was
but the people that are still here now, it's like community seems hyped
Right.
and excited. I'm hyped and excited, and
yeah.
But
I mean, it was interesting how, I don't know, NFTs were such an interesting new thing that had so much legitimate potential, but really there was just so much, the degree to which people were buying them purely as a means of gambling compared to actually wanting to own the thing. It was just like the volume discrepancy between those two was
1,000 to 1.
insane. Yeah. So crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about this ad nauseum, but like the difference between how many people were involved in buying and selling NFTs of the profile picture variety specifically, and the amount and the supply of them was like everybody had access to 700 of them or something like that. It was like, there's no need for this. You might need 3 if you want to have a different one on Insta and Twitter, and I don't even know. I don't even know what the next one would be. Discord, I guess.
Yeah,
you know?
it's maddening. In hindsight, I mean, we all knew it was the bubble would burst and prices would crash. It was like we were saying it in like mid 2021 though, and they went up like another crazy bunch of multiples, and so anyway, it's nice to see art doing well, all things considered.
Right. Which has been the case sort of for a while, right?
Yeah. How's your ice cream maker go?
Good, except I made cinnamon toast crunch ice cream again. But so it says to freeze the mixtures for 24 hours. But I was like, I bet you I can get away with less. And then I did it the other day and it came out extremely soupy. So basically it was just eating like cold ice cream soup. And it was not as satisfying as if I had let it freeze the proper amount of time. So that was my first real fail, basically.
Yeah.
It's an amazing device, though. I recommend it to literally everybody.
What about...
I have pistachio waiting for me. We're going out to dinner in an hour and 15 minutes. But then when I come home, I think I'm going to make that pistachio ice cream for myself.
Well, I don't like sweet things, but for someone who does like sweet things, I bet that would be great. Yeah.
Yep.
I've been doing this intermittent fasting for like 2 weeks now, where it's like 23 hours a day fasting, 1 hour, just get all my calories.
That's a crazy one. I'm very familiar with people that are doing like 16 off
16, 8,
and then 8.
Or 18,
pretty
6.
common. 1 hour is insane. So you're basically eating one big continuous meal?
Yeah. I'm not even like that necessarily big or continuous. It's like 20, 30 minutes. I'll have like a big dinner usually at like somewhere between 5 p.m. and 7 or 8 p.m. And that just gets me through. I don't really feel hungry any other time anymore.
So when you say you've been doing this, how long have you been doing this for? 4 days? So because a lot of times listeners, let me talk to the listeners right now. Roy a lot of times will tell you about this thing that he's been doing as if it's something that he's been doing for 4 to 5 months, and he's like 3 days into it. It was like, oh, I'm only eating meat. I only eat meat now. It was like he was 7 hours into only eating meat. He had just had an onion ring and decided, okay, I'm no longer eating any vegetables. So I declare that all I do is eat meat now. It's like, okay, great. Talk to me on your third meal of this.
All right. The carnivore diet I did for a couple of weeks, and then I decided it was not sustainable. I missed vegetables, yada, yada, yada. But I felt good while I was on it. This I've also been doing for a couple of weeks, but I feel like it's sustainable and something I want to keep going and will continue.
You've done a more regular one before, I think, or maybe it was just always keto.
I think about 9 months of really strict keto and intermittent fasting, where I was like adding butter to my coffee and, eating just avocados, kind of with just some salt, and like that's a meal. And probably the best I've ever felt in my life was that 9 month period. What
is the point of the 1 hour thing? Is it just convenience? You only feel like you need to eat once, or is there something that indicates to you that narrow of a time period is even better or something?
It's a combination of, I am pretty sure that like fasting for longer is better. So 22, 23 hour fasting is better than 18 hour, which is better than 16 hour, which is better than 12. I think it's like 16 hours is kind of like what they say is like the minimum to start getting like the really serious or significant effects.
Your hormones start doing different stuff or whatever at that point.
Yeah, and just kind of the longer you keep that going, generally the better for all sorts of health benefits. So, but it's like, honestly, it just started, I didn't set out to do it. It was just one day I had dinner and then the next day I just didn't get hungry till dinner time again. So I was like, all right, well, now I'll eat. And then one day I did like a 30-hour fast and then I was like, all right, let's eat now. And so it's just the body adapts.
You must have
really
already
quickly.
ate dinner today, huh?
Yes. We
What
had
did you have,
takeout for the
chef?
first time in a few weeks. We ordered Japanese food. So we got a whole bunch of sushi, couple of non-sushi items and
sushi and non-sushi. Okay.
yeah.
Whenever
it was
I eat, I have one of those two things for sure. I'll have sushi or not sushi.
Here we go.
I'm going out to dinner later for some of that.
And you having some non-sushi?
I'm having non-sushi, yeah.
God, sushi is so good. Like good
It
sushi.
is very good.
It
What?
doesn't get much better.
Oh, yeah. No, it's so good. And it's so simple. It's like, how is it so good when there's so little so few ingredients, and there's so little done to them, and yet it's so fucking good.
Yep. Where are you going for dinner tonight? I'm getting hungry now. What? This is not
I'm
good.
going to Providence Oyster Bar.
Oh, that sounds excellent.
I've been once. I think it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to get. I haven't really looked at the menu yet. I only found out 2 hours ago that I was going, and I was too busy playing to stare at the menu. I'm a big fan of looking at menus ahead of time, though, so I'm like a little disappointed.
I am too, and Rachel always gives me slack for it. Like we'll be in the car or like in an Uber
Slack?
on the way
That's
to the
not
restaurant.
the word, right?
That's a word. That's a word.
It is a word, but it means she's like giving you leeway. She's like allowing it to happen.
Yeah.
Guff, maybe? She's giving you guff?
She's definitely... From Longman Dictionary of Contemporary English, give somebody slack, give somebody some... Wait, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's what I tried to tell you.
No, I mean, this definition doesn't make sense.
Because you're
I
under the
do
impression
believe you're
that the
right. She gives me whatever. She doesn't. She always makes fun of me. For
Kayla does the same to me as well.
Yeah, like the other day we were going to where we watched Barbie. We went into like one of those fancy theaters where you can like order food and get like a meal at the thing and whatnot.
Right.
And I looked up the menu for that in advance, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get this and then this." And she's like, "Just get there and decide." And I'm like, "But."
Yeah, you got to plan it out.
You gotta plan it
Should
out.
we look
You
at the
gotta-
menu right now together?
What do you gotta get, Jamie? It's some oysters.
You know what? It's an oyster bar, so I'm gonna have to start with some raw oysters. That's all I can know for sure right now.
Yeah. God, oysters are good.
I'm behind
Goose
schedule on protein for the day, though,
barnacles.
so I'm gonna have to get a bunch of protein with whatever I get. Tell you that
Yeah.
much.
I mean, you're
And I
not gonna
have
have a
an
hard
ice
time
cream
finding
dessert
that.
planned for when I get home.
Yeah.
Hey, we must have talked on this podcast before about the time you ate 114 oysters, right?
We might not have. I mean,
Is
we probably
that
have.
true? I think we probably have. It's
108.
been 82 episodes.
108
But just,
oysters.
why don't you tell the listeners about this?
So I was in Melbourne at the Crown Casino on a poker trip with a bunch of poker players that were friends. And at the casino, they have a seafood restaurant that has I think just a regular restaurant that has a buffet. And like, I think one day a week, it's a seafood buffet or something like that. Like, anyway, there's a seafood buffet there, as a lot of casinos like buffets. And someone had the idea, it wasn't me, hey, let's have an oyster eating competition. I think there's this one guy, Sam, and he's like 6'2", and I remember him being known for like inhaling food. Like, we'll sit down, we'll get a steak, and like within 60 seconds, he's consumed his entire
This
steak.
is gone.
And so, for whatever reason, someone else thought they could eat more oysters than him. And so, this other guy, Danny, who like runs marathons, he's always running. It's like, yeah, they set up, let's have an oyster competition. And then like people heard about it, like, oh, I mean, let's tag in on that. And so like I joined as well. And I think eventually there were like 6 or 8 of us at this seafood buffet. And it was like out of like The Simpsons or one of those movies where like you like eat the buffet out of like all of their food.
Yeah.
Where we were like genuinely concerned, are they actually going to run out of oysters? Because they'd bring them out and then like within like 60 seconds, our table would have them all. But like, to their credit, they just kept bringing them out over and over and over again.
Yeah, the poor people in the back that had to shuck them. Jesus.
Yeah, I feel sorry for them. But anyway, Also for the other people in the venue who wanted oysters, because like we
Yeah,
were
yeah.
like we were trying to be
Who
pretty
wanted
good
a
about like if
reasonable
they came
amount of
out.
oysters?
If other people were waiting, they always got first dibs, and then we took whatever was left. But anyway, like we were sitting there, and one by one, people fell. Someone had half a dozen, someone had a dozen, and like they tapped out, which is pathetic.
That's pathetic.
But, yeah.
Don't even say you're joining the competition. Just go, no, thank you. I'll probably have 6 or 7.
Well,
I like oysters, but I'm not
I think like 1 or 2 people were like, yeah, I just want some oysters.
Yeah.
Anyway, a few people tapped out at like 2 dozen, 3 dozen, and then there were like 3 of us left, and we got to like 70.
Is it the
80.
6'2" guy
One guy
and the
taps out.
marathoner and you?
Yes.
Okay.
And then the marathoner drops out at like 70 or 80 or something. And then it's just me and the 6'2" guy. And it actually ended kind of anticlimactically because it got to the point at 105 or something where neither of us really were going to back down. And it kind of like, I don't know, it was going to end bad, I guess.
Yeah.
And so someone had the idea of like, why don't you play rock, paper, scissors? And then the loser, or like whoever wins that gets to eat 3 more oysters, and then they've won the competition. And like I won that. I ate 3 oysters and at 108 had won. And I feel so sorry for my partner at the time because we shared obviously a hotel room. I've never in my life smelled anything that bad in a bathroom. Like and for like days, like I sweat. I was exuding. It was terrible. And I was like turned off oysters for like 18 months or 2 years. I just couldn't eat an oyster again, which I was somewhat concerned that I'd never like get an affinity for them back. But now I love them again. We'll happily eat like a dozen or whatever. But boy, I mean, no regrets. Like it was fun. And I don't think anyone expected me to have a shot because, like, I don't know.
Yeah, now tell us about what you think your stomach space was like. Okay, you're saying neither of you were going to back down, but if you guys weren't cowards and kept going, what do you think would have happened? Instead of taking the easy way out, you guys just both go for it.
Yeah.
Like,
I probably would have just gone
40 more.
I mean, so like these are small oysters, Sydney rocks. Like they're not these giant, big,
They're
creamy
bigger than
Pacific
Kumamoto's,
oysters.
but not much. Basically, is that fair to say?
Maybe like yeah, that's fair to say.
Okay.
Like a little like noticeably bigger, but like like 4 of them would make like a Pacific oyster or something like that. A big creamy one. I definitely feel like I could have had like a couple dozen more. I like get obsessive and competitive. I probably would have just gone till like at that point I would have just gone till I threw up and then been like, all right, that's
disgusting.
That's it.
So tell us about the oyster shits.
I actually just remembered another really unfortunate element so we had invited I had invited a couple of friends who lived in Melbourne, but they weren't poker players. They were just people that I knew from the real world to join us for a meal. And this happened to be the meal that they came to. And one of the guy in the relationship really disliked oysters. And so
dickhead.
I feel really bad in hindsight, but it was at least a free buffet for that person because I don't know. I think like one of the whales we were with just picked up the bill, which was kind of nice. But I also wonder, like, did the casino make or lose money with the amount of oysters that we ate?
Yeah, it sounds kind of like they might have lost against you guys, but they usually charge an awful lot for a buffet.
It would have been expensive,
like, pretty
I don't know,
smart.
$80 or something.
$80,
yeah.
Whew.
Well,
this is a weird question, but can you describe the disgustingness of this poop? Because Roy told me specifically that it was really horrific, but like, is it very oceany plus shit, or is it just bad shit? Like,
it's
just like, what happened?
So I'm trying to remember. I remember the smell more than anything else, but I feel like it was like, you know when you go to like a farm and you see like cow poop?
Yeah.
Like big,
barnyard-y.
round, like
very barnyard. Oh, you're just okay. I was looking for the scent.
not the scent. The look and texture. It was like that. That was what it felt.
Gross.
This is I apologize to our listeners, but Jamie, you asked the question. I'm going to answer it. The smell was
bad.
A lot of iron and zinc is like I don't know how to describe
very
it.
Minerally.
Mixed, very minerally mixed with like seafood that had been sitting out in the sun, mixed with sweat, and God, it was bad. Like
that sounds really bad. Yeah, actually,
it was really bad.
I have a slightly similar story. So, a while
NFC
ago,
podcast, by the way.
Yeah, a while ago we had oysters for something. I think maybe I was grilling oysters or whatever, and I had it in my mind that like I'm going to do something vaguely good with the shells, right? I'm going to compost them or whatever, something. So I took them and put them in a Tupperware container in the refrigerator and just sort of like forgot about it. And then like after, let's say 6 weeks or whatever, Kayla and I were like, all right, let's give up on this. And the scent when we opened that was so horrific. I'm going to gag thinking about it right now. It was really gross, and I don't want to think about it much more. Yeah, and that didn't even have to go through anyone's intestines and come out their asshole. But it did sit in the fridge for a long time.
And like, it was like 2 days of that for me. Like, I was banned from using... I had to go and use like a public bathroom.
Yeah, I was going to say, at some point you stop using the hotel room one and go to like the lobby or whatever.
It was a one and done. Like, after that, I was just not going to use that again. Phew. What a time.
Yeah.
I don't think I could eat 108 oysters again. Like,
I don't really enjoy having like a 9th oyster, you know?
Yeah.
Six is a very good number for me.
Yeah.
You know what? Too bad this podcast isn't live because I need to like start thinking about what to wear for dinner, and we could have I could have like been like, what about this? And then the listeners would go, no, that doesn't look good. But right now it would just be you, and we all know
I have excellent fashion sense.
I'm not taking fashion advice from Roy.
Excuse me. No, I have terrible fashion sense. Like
You do. I agree.
At anything. Yeah. Although I kind of have like a uniform now where I've just got this
Right, look how gray our hairs
set
are.
of like purple shirts. What are you doing, Jamie?
I'm looking at how gray my hair is. This is the spot where it's the most obvious.
It's not even that. Not that like. Yeah, it's nothing too bad.
Well, yeah, compared to you.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're older than me, so you're fine.
Thank you.
Welcome.
We are old, though, right? Is that not true? We used to be very young, and now we're not that young.
Yeah, we were like teenagers. 19, 20. I mean, we were younger than that, but like
21,
we were hanging out at
22.
that age.
I'm
now
fucking 40 soon, right? 40.
50 in like what?
No, sorry, calm down with
years?
the 50 stuff.
That's
God willing,
crazy.
I'll die at some point in my 40s and never have to be that old.
40 is the new 30. That's what you say to make yourself feel better and all that kind of stuff. Which is, to a certain extent, seems kind of true. You can take care of yourself and yada, yada, yada. But 40? What the heck?
I know.
I feel like we are largely still the same immature children.
No, I still feel like a 24-year-old or whatever. Except like I do wake up with like joints that hurt sometimes, which is super uncool.
Yeah.
And that was not a thing that happened in my early 20s.
Nope.
What happened? Let's go back a few steps. You're watching The Bear. You're 2 episodes into season 2. Episode 1, they talk to Cicero about getting money, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then what's episode 2? What happens?
Well, I mean, spoiler alerts, first and foremost. Fast forward if you don't want to get spoiled.
Yeah.
Episode 2.
Or plug your ears or whatever.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we've only seen episode 2. Maybe we saw 3. But like the one that we just watched and finished is the one where they're just like prepping to get the restaurant ready. Those 2 chefs went to the CIA Culinary Institute to start their traiing. I
like how she always calls Chef Jeff.
Yeah. Carmen it goes to like the grocery store to get ice cream or something and like meets that chick and like they have this meet cute moment, which was really nice actually.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
They knew each other before. You know that, right?
Yeah, like as kids,
Okay.
they knew each other, like re-meet cute or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so it was like kind of almost like a character development story rather than a plot progression story.
The plot did not move too much in the last episode.
Yeah,
you're saying. Okay.
yeah. But it's a enjoyable show. I'm excited for them to do more cooking. I love when they cook cool things.
Oh yeah, a lot of fast cuts and all that stuff.
And the beef, when they're like searing the beef, that looks so good. Yeah, I made a good stir fry last night. That was enjoyable.
Character's gonna make an omelet soon that looks really good. Spoiler alert.
Nice.
I'm gonna try and recreate it, I think.
Have you ever made like a one of those really smooth and silky French omelets that are like...
No, I made tons. Like I made a lot of omelets, but I never do like a real
constant whipping and
fancy French style one. No.
Yeah. I think I've done
I made a lot of ham and cheese omelets in my day for sure.
Eggs are great. Like
I love them. I had 3 eggs for breakfast this morning. Part of my breakfast. I don't want to lie to the listeners and act like I didn't have turkey bacon as well. I had eggs as part of my. Nice. Also, listeners, I've kept this from them this whole time. I took a very bad beat at the poker table today. Very upset about this.
Why do you tell people your bad beat? Get it out there.
No, I had a set versus 2 pair, and we got her all in on the turn. And he hit the 4-outer for a bunch of money. It was sad. It was actually funny, though. It was funny because I tried to quit the game like a half hour earlier, and this same guy, it almost sounds like if you told a totally random person this, they'd be like, oh, you got scammed, like this is an elaborate scam. So anyway, the guy paid me $25 to not quit because he wanted to piss off the guy who was first on the waiting list and was waiting for a seat at the table. So I was like, all right, I'll kill another 45 minutes for this money if you want to. I don't really care. And then, with like 7 minutes left before my new time where I was going to quit, this hand happened where the same guy got lucky against me. Whatever.
Poker is...
It's fickle.
I don't know. Exactly like the word I was going to say. Fickle. Poker is fickle.
The bad players wouldn't play as much if that kind of thing didn't happen, yada, yada, all that justification.
You got to look at it through the right lens. Positive. It's good that stuff like that can happen.
Do we have anything else that we want to talk about?
I don't think so.
The new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie is supposed to be good. If we're doing movie and TV reviews, have you heard that?
I might have heard it from you. I don't think I've heard it elsewhere.
Oh well, that's a thing. It's supposed to be good, and I care enough about that I may go see it. You want to play? What am I thinking?
Sure. I'm ready.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. S'mores. Denizen?
Mm-hmm.
And s'mores. I barely know what that word means. Okay.
It's like a less official word of citizen, like version of citizen. It's like a person from a place, but not legally a resident, all that kind of stuff. S'mores and denizen. Sure.
3, 2, 1. Camper. Does that count?
I don't know. This is your game.
I say no, and I'll pick a word.
Okay.
Awfully close, though.
Sure.
Ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Tent.
Fire.
God damn it. I was thinking about fire, too. I wish we could say camping.
I wish we could say s'mores.
All right, I got one.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Nature.
Forest.
Nature and forest. Nature and forest. Okay.
Yeah.
You got one?
Sure.
3, 2, 1. Trees. Flora and trees.
Okay, I got one.
3, 2, 1. Plants. We did it.
We did it. Had ourselves on the back. By Totoro.
Are we doing the thing or are we not doing the thing?
The giveaway thing?
Yeah.
I feel like we're like a little behind on giving things out. Like maybe let's not until we catch up. And
so we just did that for fun then.
Yeah, we just did it for fun. Hopefully people enjoyed, played along.
Right.
We appreciate you. Thank you for listening. Go donate blood.
Yep, donate blood for sure. Watch The Bear too. It's very good.
Yeah, I recommend it. Even if you're not like a foodie, it's still just a really compelling show, I think. And
I agree.
there's a lot. It doesn't revolve around food. It's much more than that. So
a lot of people that have worked in kitchens say it's like too real. Brings back, gives them anxiety attacks and stuff like that. I also did hear one going, their shirts are too white, like they need to be dirtier. But other than that, it's fucking spot on.
I can see that, yeah. It does not seem like a pleasant place to work.
Oh my God, very intense in there.
High-pressure kitchen.
Very mean to each other. Okay, this has been episode 82.
Yep. Cool. I got sidetracked right at the end there. Enjoy your dinner. Enjoy your oysters. Bye.
Thank you.